Hey everybody, Zach Witovich here on The Building Code, and today we have a live guest, which is always the best experience. It's really excited to have Tamarah and Matt of a local builder here in Omaha called Sierra Homes. So we're going to get into their business. They're longtime Buildertrend users. Welcome to The Building Code to both of you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
First time on a podcast?
Absolutely.
How's it feel?
Excited.
There we go. That's what we want to hear. Come on. Yeah, we need to do this on Friday afternoon and get the bourbon out. You know, and just let it roll. Yeah. Well, it's a great to have you here. You guys are absolute studs on Buildertrend. Let's talk a little bit about your business. Like, what do you do here in Omaha? And can I get just an absolute steal on construction if you feel free to say no.
There are no steals in construction, yes.
Fair.
Other than the steel that goes into it.
Yeah. Tell me about your business. What do you guys do?
So we are a luxury custom home builder here in Omaha. We build anywhere from 12 to 15 projects a year. We do some larger additions and remodels, but for the most part, our kind of bread and butter is full one-off custom homes.
12 to 15 a year? Nice. And what are your roles? We don't always have two people on the podcast, so like, what do you guys do at
Well, we are husband and wife.
Oh,
and
family-run business.
Yep. We started over 13 years ago, and Tamarah kind of runs the design side of the business, and I run the construction side of it, and we kind of lead our team from two different avenues.
Yeah, dynamic duo. How big is your team?
So there's 6 of us. There's 6 plus Tamarah and I, so there's 8 total. And we've just got a great team that anywhere's from interior design, obviously admin and accounting staff, and then we've got a couple in-house carpenters that do a lot of our finish and custom carpentry work.
You do? Interesting. Have you always had in-house carpentry, or is it something that you've moved into more recently?
We moved into it about 5 years ago, actually, and we just kind of got to the point where we wanted to control that part of the build. Yeah, a little bit closer to home.
I've been hearing that more and more lately, and I've been at Buildertrend for 5 years. And when I started, like, it was people kind of like would laugh at me. They're like, in-house carpentry, like, why would you ask that? And now I feel like I can't find people that aren't doing that.
Yeah, we've just kind of taken the parts as we've kind of grown. Some of the higher end finishes and so forth. It's just easier to control it in-house and be able to have staff, on board that what they can do and what they can't do, and not have to rely on, is someone going to show up tomorrow to get this done? And
yeah, I was going to say, is it improved efficiency? Has it made it so that your jobs are completed faster and there's less rigmarole around logistics of like, are they going to be there to get the framing done or get the work done we need on the lumber side?
It's really just helped, I would say, our quality as one, but also mostly our creativity. Like,
like all those wainscoting walls, and if we need custom furniture or wine storage.
They're building you guys custom furniture too?
They have.
That's awesome.
Yeah, one's a little bit more an artist at heart, and the other one is a little bit more of a contractor at heart. So they kind of make a good duo of like putting their heads together when a client comes to us and is like, hey, we saw this, or we brainstormed this up. Like, how do we get this? And we usually just show it to them, and they're like, oh yeah, we got it.
Yeah. That's
awesome. So, we want to talk more about that. How has your company evolved and grown over the years? So you got in-house laborers and how else, like, you guys have been in business now 12, 13 years. Like, how else have you shifted your approach to things?
Well, when we started out, it was really kind of a hobby of mine. And so I was just doing a couple spec homes a year. And
for fun.
Yes. He's serious.
I love that.
To fill some time.
Yeah.
And I was young, didn't have.
Were they ground up specs, or were you buying like property and remodeling and trying to?
They were ground up.
Ground up.
Yeah. And so we kind of got started in the semi-custom world, and doing middle of the road houses, or middle price point, I would say, and trying to throw in a few higher end features that you would see in what I considered luxury homes at the time, and try and bring those into like the mid price point market.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of grew from there and eventually consumed my life.
Yeah.
You said that like the 1,000-yard stare, and I couldn't escape.
Yeah. I was like, okay, you can't work till 2 and 3 a.m. every day. You got to let something go.
Out on the job site after work.
Yeah. So
what'd you do before?
Well, my main gig was human resources. With
that is a first, I think, for me with construction.
Well, for an engineering firm.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
With some business, there was a lot of business management. Was probably half of my job.
Yeah.
And so I had a lot of flexibility there, and this kind of became a hobby, and then it kind of turned into a business, and people started reaching out.
Yeah.
And
saw your work.
Yeah. And so then we kind of transitioned into full time, and then since then, as the years have gone by, the homes have gotten bigger. The ideas have gotten bigger. Mostly coming from my wife, who dreams up crazy stuff that we have to try and figure out how to incorporate into the house. And then, from there, most of our business now, like I said, is just kind of transitioned into the full custom world. And we still consider ourselves diverse in that we still do some semi-custom work, and we still do some basement finishes, and we do, remodels. But for the most part, those projects are, I don't know, some of the, most of the remodels that we do are another whole home.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah. How about your design philosophy? Have you always been the designer? How have you seen things change from the design side?
Actually, my background is in finance, but things are changing every year. Color schemes and what people expect. Organization is huge now.
Oh yeah.
My
wife's
it's always
all
evolving.
about the mudroom right now.
Yeah.
Like, where'd you pick this up at?
Yes.
Her friends at work.
Right. But yeah, there's something new out there that trends are changing, and just trying to stay on top of that. But it's fun.
How much staff did you have on the design side, or is it just you?
Myself and Bailey.
Okay.
We have another.
Yeah, really tight knit.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And you guys have been Buildertrend customers for a long time, as I mentioned before. That's actually pretty unusual. We don't, like, a lot of newer construction companies don't. They come to Buildertrend, but they're run into issues of like, I'm so small that like having a system like this seems like overkill, which is fair. It's like, you can be pretty scrappy for a long time, and it sounds like probably when you were doing your spec builds, you were probably just like running your numbers on Excel, or I've seen people just have whiteboards, all of that. So why did you decide you needed a system so early in your build process, or your construction company process?
Right. Mostly, coming from having some experience and seeing the commercial world, just from my past employer, we used project management software in a different way and in a different environment. But I've always been very organized, and I've always felt like that organization helps everything flow better and easier. So, after a year or two in business, it was like, once I grew past one house at a time or something like that, I'm like, God, it'd be so nice to just have something that, there has to be something out there. And obviously Buildertrend was much younger then as well. And so Tamarah sent me a link, I think, to it. We were just talking about it earlier this week.
I found you guys.
I was about to, like, back in the day, she said you found us on the internet.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was like, hey, let's try this.
Did you know they were in Omaha?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we did once we looked it up, and I was like, oh, they're local. We can...
local tech company. Totally totally a thing
right.
in Nebraska.
And so we made an inquiry or a phone call, and we went over to what at the time was your guys' little tiny office in a little strip mall.
You're like,
things have changed.
This tech company, I don't know about them.
Yeah, I mean, it was above a garage, but
we started in a basement, so by then they were probably the founders were probably like, we're rocking it.
Yeah,
we got real offices.
Right.
And then we saw you guys at the Builder Show as one of the main sponsors. I'm like, we made the right decision.
Yeah, yeah. Did you go to this most recent IBS?
We did not. It's been a couple of years since we've gone. But
yeah. Well, if you come this next year, we can run it back. I'll be there. Charlie gets kind of sensitive. He doesn't get to travel as much as I do. It's kind of a thing. But, I think he's going to be there too. We look like the Apple store now. Like literally we just like dominate the floor. Not like our marketing team spends so much time planning this. And I'm always like, well, message sent, we just dominate. No. So you met at the Builder Show and you were like, this is the right decision.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember your salesperson by chance?
No.
Or your first trainer? You're.
That was a long time ago.
I know, but I asked.
We had Paul for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, I asked because they're probably still here at this company, and that's one of the cool things about
cool.
Seeing us grow. It's like you guys have grown, you've got new people, we have new people that they still work here in prominent positions. I was asking if one of them could be my boss, so I was going to be looking for a good roast sesh I could clip and send to him. Yeah. Well, you picked it, you decided to go with it. With that, how have you grown with Buildertrend? Do you have something about it that keeps you with us, or
for a lot of years we really focused on the scheduling obviously aspect of it and managing our clients' selections through it and change orders obviously, and that was kind of our primary use of it. Obviously as our company has grown, the time clock piece of it has become much more important in billing back hours to clients and job cost tracking and so forth, But I would say probably the last 5 years, really our biggest, one of our biggest challenges was, obviously clients texting you at all times of the night. And,
and then it's like, I get a text and Matt gets, we're trying to piecemeal it back together.
Yeah. So. And it was like,
can we get a group chat going here?
Yeah.
And there was, well, then you had group chat with like some employees and the client or just you and them. And it was like, okay, where was that message? What was it? What did they say? And you're 8 months down the road trying to back something up, or find something.
Right.
And so we really made a push probably 3-4 at least years ago. We just kind of started a process where we were like, go ahead, feel free to text us if you want about something little or a question or whatever, but don't expect a response from us. And we're probably going to respond either in a comment or an email within Buildertrend so that we can find it later. And that's been huge because it's really brought a lot of balance back, from evenings and off hours and so forth. So that's been, one huge thing I think that's really helped us, at least on a personal standpoint.
Yeah.
But then also as we've kind of grown and we've got, another project manager now and so forth, we really started to take advantage of the daily logs and the photos that back that up and just communicating, okay, we were on site today. Here's the discussions we had with XYZ contractor or subcontractor. Here's the decisions that were made. And then sharing that with the owners so that, they know not only are we doing our job, but they also know, here's the challenges that came up today. Here's how we resolved them. They see that, and it's just it's an easy
touch.
It's an easy touch, but it's also if they read that and they're like, ooh, no, I don't agree with something in there, then they can reach out before it's too late.
Yeah.
Or if we can say, here's the challenge we were dealing with, here's how we averted it, or here's the decision we made, and here's why we made this decision. A lot of times it just eliminates that question when they go out to the house and they walk through it and be like, why does this look this way? Or why is this not finished, or whatever. And it's like, okay, if we've got to document it, they already know, hey, the plumbers can't finish this till next week. then they are not asking us, like, why does the schedule show that the plumbers are done?
Yeah.
And it doesn't look like they're done.
Yeah. It's interesting because something so simple like a daily log is so powerful. And I have some interesting data that only like 52% of our customers use daily logs right now. And I'm always like, why? And it is kind of that, it sounds like it took you a while to even get there a little bit.
It took us a long time to get there.
What was the reason for that?
Time.
Just time?
It takes time.
Yeah.
A large part of it was, it takes time. Mm-hmm. It takes time to document it. Once we started it, like we just started kind of playing around with it, and we were first like, okay, do we do it? Do we share it with the owner? Do we not?
Mm-hmm.
And we started internally not sharing it, and then we started seeing, we're like, well, we're just going to try it. Like we're going to share everything completely open, transparent with the owner and see what the reaction is. And
someone convinced you to do that. Probably a Buildertrend. We do a lot of like, do it. Just like have a guinea pig.
We were just like, I think it was one of my employees actually. It was like, well, we've done it this way now. Like, let's try it the other way. And we can always revert back if it becomes a problem. And it's been nothing but positive. So,
yeah, it's just communication.
Yeah.
Because, the client doesn't always see everything that's going, like everything we're doing every day.
Mm-hmm.
And just to see a report, I think it's huge.
Yeah. And it mitigates risk too in a lot of ways.
Right.
That gets out of the he said, she said.
Right.
I've got horror stories from my clients that didn't document daily logs where it's like in court, you don't have evidence. And that's like worst case scenario.
Right.
But like that's the value for any business owner is you're protecting yourself, you're improving communication, and it's the simplest thing you can have in the platforms. That's amazing. And it's very common to hear people kind of like later realize that. How often are you guys sharing your daily logs? Is it daily or do you have it on like a cadence?
I would say it's twice a week.
Twice a week?
Yeah, on average. It depends on the phase of the project and what's going on. But sometimes it's daily, sometimes it's once a week,
Mm-hmm.
And also utilizing comments like under selections.
Mm-hmm.
When COVID hit, the supply chain has been awesome. So we just document, whenever a light arrives or when flooring arrives or if there's a pushback on a date. And we're doing that when we receive the notification, and that helps clients know too, okay, all my stuff is coming in or it's not, or, it's another communication tool.
Yeah. Are you guys utilizing the client portal too, the full thing? Are they able to log in and like go look at that progress or? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
What does your onboarding experience look like for your customer? Do you coach them through how to use this? This is an area that builders, I think we sell them really well on getting them to use it, but then they don't think about I have to then translate it over, and we provide them resources. So I'm curious for our listeners, because this is very common. Like, what's your approach to getting your customers to use it?
We send them a link to the training video.
Yeah.
I mean, it's older, but it works. And I feel like everybody's pretty techie these days.
Mm-hmm.
But we also started doing a kickoff meeting.
Oh, you did?
So we bring like our team in and the clients. If they have any questions on Buildertrend, make sure they're activated, and then just kind of talk about next steps. Because everyone likes to know what the next step is.
Yeah. I read a great line, I don't recall, but essentially it's like, if you're not filling their thoughts with your ideas, they're filling them with theirs. And in construction, that's a dangerous proposition when you're trying to move things along, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What other features? I'm curious, like daily logs, huge unlock. Were there other things that you later adopted? This is basically for me to be like, see, get on daily logs earlier, and anything else?
To-dos. I mean, to-dos kind of grew as our company grew. But again, going back to like being organized and so forth, like it's really kind of developed into not only just your normal, like, hey, I need to remind myself to get this done. It's been a lot of, we kind of use it in two, what I consider very important ways. One is if a client emails us like something specific that they're looking for, but we're not to that phase of the project, it's almost like we're converting that from an email into a to-do so that, and tagging it to, okay, they want to add lights in these locations when we get to the electrical walkthrough, but they might have told us 3 months earlier, so that we don't have to remember that or don't have to document it elsewhere, and then it's just automatically in a checklist already when we go to do the walkthrough. Secondly, as we are constantly updating our template for to-dos, just from a QA/QC process, and so we're not perfect. Construction's not perfect, and things come up, mistakes happen, or problems come up that you're like, okay, here's something that we've never experienced before, and here's how we resolved it, and now it's in the template so that it's looked at on the next project, just to make sure that we don't make that mistake, or that mistake doesn't happen twice, whether or not we made it on purpose or not.
Yeah, the templating thing is massive. And it lets you kind of also try different things too. Like, when you go to your approach, you can easily copy the template next job. Like, we had issues on this part of the schedule. Let's extend it out, see if that addresses it, get some baseline and reporting on that.
I think we have 150
templates?
To-dos.
Oh, oh my gosh. Dang.
Yeah, for each job.
Wow.
Yeah.
But that's the whole life cycle of the job, right?
Yeah.
Oh, how long are your builds typically? Are you on the full custom 2-year build situation?
12 to 14.
12, 14 months.
Yeah. From start of construction. I mean, most projects from the time we meet the client are over 2 years for sure.
Yeah. And are those your to-dos, like selections included, like all of it, or are they more about just like making sure that the core construction items are on there?
Yeah, mostly, QA/QC checks and timeline deadlines and so forth.
Yep.
And then we have our internal template for selections.
Got it.
Too.
Yep. So it's all kind of core connected, but it's not necessarily like going through there.
Yep.
And every job has a folder structure also that we use.
Love that.
For each that we just copy and start over. So it's always, all the information is always in the same place.
Yeah. That's impressive. Did you guys work with us to develop any of that, or is that all just kind of on your own accord?
No, it's pretty much been on our own.
Yeah. That's really impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the things that we preach, that we've learned from our builders, that we then take to other builders, and there is that like kind of gap. I don't know what your guys' perspective is on the industry. I was just talking to customers that are here for BTU about how they just don't know. They don't talk to other construction owners. It's lonely. So a lot of people do figure it out, but it's interesting, as I like to hear, would it have been helpful to be able to like talk to another builder to get that, or like, did you use us to help facilitate that? But kudos to you guys.
It's just making the time to make it happen.
Yeah.
Because
construction's cake.
It's always a back burner project.
Yeah. Just like HGTV.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It just happens. You just pick it.
Happened in a couple hours.
No problems. Really cool. Well, we're right at time. You guys got to get out of here. You got a meeting to get to, but thank you so much for joining us on the Building Code. It's a lot of fun to have you here in the studio, and extended invitation to come back anytime.
Thank you. Yeah.
We love coming to the office. We love coming to CEU classes here. And it's just great to have you guys local, and it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Everybody move to Omaha. Get out here. Then you can have us whenever you want.
That's right.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening today on The Building Code. Join us. Remember to always like, comment, subscribe. Check us out on all social media platforms. Don't forget to tell your friends about The Building Code, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching the video. Remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel for exclusive content brought to you by Buildertrend.